Greetings and salutations. Welcome to Knife Chats with Tobias. Alright, I'm kind of hand holding the camera here at the beginning. My iPhone. I got this box a while ago at one of those second-hand stores, and it's basically a box that was used to hold silverware, you know, a nice fancy set of silverware. And I saw it and it's like, man, I want to open that box up and rip out the innards and use it to store some knives. And I really wasn't sure what knives I was going to put in it at the beginning until I saw a video of from William's Knife Life where he was showing off his Rough Riders, and I thought, all right, you know what, that's what I'm going to use this box for. Now, it's not going to show off all of my Rough Riders, but it's going to show off my kind of like the Rough Rider odd lots that I have, knives that I have that are basically one-offs from Rough Rider and stuff like that, and also some patterns that just don't get shown on my camera or on my channel that often. Also, I ended up throwing in my Schrade Doctor's knife because I had no place to put that one, and my U.S. Classics Tiger Eye Congress, because I really didn't have a place to put it either. But otherwise, everything in the box is Rough Riders. But really, what inspired me to do this is this particular Rough Rider here, and this is Rough Rider 2003, and that's the knife I want to talk to you about right now. But this knife here is the knife that said, man, that is really a cool knife. How can I display it? And then I thought, well, display it with some other Rough Riders that you never have a chance to display. And so that's what this box is going to be for. It's going to be a box to display Rough Riders that don't normally get displayed. So it won't be the knives in my tortoiseshell series. It won't be the knives in white smooth bone, and it won't be knives in the stonework series, but it'll be other knives that I have by Rough Rider and that really don't fit anywhere else. And there's a lot of them. And what I will eventually do is break out and show these knives too in a future video. But right now, let's take a look at RR 2003. So let's get right in here with the RR 2003. The knife that inspired me to create a new collection of Rough Riders. And it's, I don't know what you call it. I think they just called it the Razor Lockback or something like that. But as you can see, it has that similar frame that you find on the upswept bow trapper and such. The difference, though, is you've got a end cap and a top bolster here going on, and it is a lockback going on here. But you do have that nice shape of, well, kind of like a saddle horn trapper. Nowhere did they call this the razor trapper or anything like that. They just called it a lockback razor, I believe, which is good. It's basically just a razor jackknife, and I really kind of like the way it looks, which is kind of odd because the razor style blade on a knife is not a blade that I flock to. It is not the type of blade I'm looking for on a knife or anything else. But this one, it just kind of caught my eye. And you see, it is very much like a straight razor when you get it all the way open. You've got a little forward finger choil going on there. And you got that nice shape of a razor blade. And really, I don't know what else you could do with it other than slice things with it, or, you know, use it like a razor. I bought it purely for the looks, like I mentioned. They called the bone handle on this thing, I think they called it an amber smooth bone. Just for giggles, I broke out the tobacco smooth bone sow belly in the Outdoorsman series, and I don't know, that bone looks pretty much about the same. So if you want to call it tobacco smooth bone or amber smooth bone, go for it. I believe they are now calling it amber smooth bone. Maybe tobacco smooth bone just is not politically correct anymore. But what I really liked about this knife, first of all, is the nickel silver bolsters on both ends. Did you notice that? There is no R on there. There's also no threading or ring on it. It is just a plain bolster. You've got the Rough Ryder bow tie shield going on there, and you've got a mid-lock in the middle there. The bone does not perfectly match side to side. That didn't bother me too much. But the fit and finish in this thing is just perfect. If you bring your finger over the back lock, you can barely feel it, just a tad bit proud right there where the drop is. It's ever so proud, but just barely. Nothing that is noticeable. Definitely a good strong lock. There is no half stop on this. It's just open it all the way, and then it locks in place, and it is a very, very strong back lock. I don't think you're going to fail, especially considering you're going to be cutting like so. Got to really press down a little bit, break it loose. So if you don't have a little thumb strength there, you're going to have a little bit of an issue with the back lock. It is a very strong back lock. Heard it close there. It's got a nice little close going on. And it is not it's not one of those one-arm bandit type of blades, and I think that's one of the reasons I like it. What I'm talking about with the one-arm bandit, let me set you here. This is the only other knife I have that has that razor kind of blade on a knife, and notice the difference between the two. And this is known as the one-arm bandit style, but this one you really cannot open one-armed or one-handed because well, there's just not enough of a catch there to catch onto. But in any case, you can see the difference between the blades there. This really has a blade similar to what you see on a straight razor, a short blade for a straight razor. And I don't know, I suppose if you know how to shave with a straight razor, you get this thing honed up well enough and you might be able to do that. This one is really just a funky blade with that tip there. I don't know. I would say, yeah, it's kind of hair shaving sharp, getting the dead skin off my hand at least, or off my hand at least. So yeah, got a little bit of a bald spot there from that. That's right out of the box. And I don't know, you got the brass liners going on there. Look at the tightness and fit on there. You can see a little bit of a gap right there in the back where the lock is. So there's a bit of a gap on this side where the lock is. Ever so slight. You can get some light through there. But look up here. That is nice and smooth and tight. Really nice brass liners going on there. All the way around. I don't know. It's just a beautiful knife. Well pinned also, if you notice. You've got well, the pins for the back springs back here and here, and then the pins for the bone up here. Obviously the shield is just glued in place. What do you expect? It's like a $15 knife, but I don't know, it's just got some really, really beautiful lines going on with it. That knife just looks really sharp to me. Let me break out one of the what is it called, the upswept bow trapper, and we'll take a look at that compared to this. Okay, so here's the upswept bow trapper. I'm sure plenty of people have seen this. It's got the nice saddle horn type of frame, but definitely more of a bend to it, and a upswept Skinner blade going on with it, with a nice little saber grind. Very popular knife, but you can see a family resemblance between the two. This one has a slightly slimmer handle, but the arch of the handle is pretty much on par with what you see on the upswept bow trapper. The difference though is the sway in the razor blade is actually more than what you see in the upswept bow trapper. So this has a more upswept blade than the bow trapper does. And obviously it has a mirror polish versus a satin finish, so this one is much more of a finger magnet, fingerprint magnet. You can also see that the bow trapper obviously has a much longer, well, not a much longer, but a slightly longer blade, but a much longer cutting edge than the razor jack here has, and that's mainly because of the forward finger choil. And well, you see, so when you grab it up there, you definitely have a much more of a handle to grab onto. If you grab it in back, you got the same handle length as you do on the bow trapper. The bow trapper, with its underliners and everything else, has a slightly thicker handle going on. So this is a much slimmer build than the bow trapper. And obviously, well, this is a more, I guess, practical knife for a lot of purposes, especially if you're out there trying to skin animals and stuff. This blade, by its shape and the handle going on there, you might be able to do some more scoring with it, like for coping or something, but really it's a razor blade, so that's really what it's more or less designed for. Very much much more of a one-trick pony than the upswept bow trapper, but still I just really like it. And one of the things that it does have on it that the bow trapper does not have is a lockback. They've talked about putting a lock on the back of the bow trapper, and maybe that is something they should do. Bow trapper half stop, less pull also. This has a stronger pull, even though, well, no, about the same amount of pull as the bow trapper, but very strong positive back lock. One thing I would like to see though is maybe this handle used for like a clip blade, but I'd also like to see another type of blade added into this handle. And well, I would like to see what you think of putting this kind of blade into this handle. And that's the blade out of a cotton sampler. I'm not sure exactly how to do it. Obviously you'd have to do a little bending, but imagine, if you will, because you have this area here which you could actually turn into the finger choil there, and then get a nice wide belly like that into this handle here. So that blade dropping down into this handle somewhat like that. I don't know. I think it'd be pretty cool. Let's see. Somewhere around like that, you have that kind of blade. Oops. Let's get it down where you can actually see it. That kind of blade dropping down into the handle like so. And then having that kind of blade on this handle. See what I mean? Obviously you'd probably have to skinny the cotton sampler blade down a little bit, but I think that'd be an interesting blade to have in there. And you do have the space up here to put a clip point on the end here. And that might be a really interesting idea, to just take this razor blade and kind of turn it into a blade similar to what you have on a cotton sampler. So you'd have a, I don't know, a bow cotton sampler. Anyway, it would be an interesting concept to have something like that into here. Something I'd like to see at least. Will it ever happen? Probably not. But as it is, I'm really digging this knife. I really like the way it looks. I like the shape of it. And it's got me rethinking razor knives or razor jacks. This one is pretty cool. can imagine this one with a second layer, and the second layer being a bottle opener. So you got your razor jack blade, and once you get your shaving all done, you pop a cold one with a bottle opener or something like that, or even just a secondary pin blade. But as it is, a single bladed option of this is pretty cool too. With that said, and well, let's stick around and for some slides, I guess. Say thank you, kitty. Let me take just a second to thank you once again for dropping by and spending a few minutes here at Knife Chats with the Pious. I really do appreciate it, and I do appreciate any comments that you leave. So please remember to give me that thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you'll know when the next episode is up and running. Thanks again for dropping by. Really do appreciate your time here.